Good afternoon, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're well. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm in my garden again. Yay! Oh my goodness, it is scotchy warm today. I'm just reaching for my water bottle. Have I got my water bottle? Yes. It's really warm already. And look, it's the afternoon. I was really tardy this morning. But after the last week or so, I've been absolutely pooped. Every bone in my body aches. So I just went nice and slowly this morning, catching up on a bit of sort of admin. I'm going to have to blow my nose now as well, excuse me. What I didn't know about, but Mum was talking to me about this, is I didn't know there was such a thing as adult onset hay fever. And I don't know, I wonder if I've got a touch of it, because I've been so mucusy for days now. Just feeling all this mucus in the top of my chest. Anyway, digress, sorry, you don't need to know about that. Hey buddy, I've got Rusty here with me. He mugged me as soon as I got to the gate. So, oh my goodness, it's been 9 days since I was here to do any gardening at all. The last time was when I was rather miserably pricking out my brassicas and putting those supports in for the tomatoes. So I haven't done any gardening for 9 days. Just before I went to my mum's and just after I got back, I've whizzed down here to water. And I did that little bit of weeding, which I'm really glad of, because at first glance, yeah, it looks pretty clean. So as you will have seen, oh, lovely cool breeze. It is really warm today. The thermometer in my shed, sorry, I'm bouncing around all over the place, aren't I? But my shed thermometer says 35, which is about 90. Obviously that's in the shed. Out there it's going to be cooler in the breeze. But yes, what was I going to say? Yes, so at the end of the last video, I whizzed down here really quickly just to plant that Helenium division from my mum and to water again. I've brought down with me today a special little bottle of something lovely to thank Gary for watering the plot while I was away, because honestly, I can see it's been really warm and dry down here, and if he hadn't watered for me, I would have probably lost things. So thank you, Gary. I'll come back to the garden in a sec. Trying to play catch up. So also on getting back from my mum's, I have to say a big thank you to folk for birthday cards and presents. So although my birthday was, it's getting on for 2 weeks ago now, it looks like birthday mail arrived for me pretty much the day I left to go to my mum's. So I came back to some really lovely parcels. Thank you all so much. Really gorgeous cards with lovely messages in. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, it was nice to come home to, because, you know, although visiting with my mum was great, and it's just so wonderful being out in her garden and pottering, it was quite tiring, and it was also a bit sort of, it's that thing of, the timing wasn't great. Obviously it was timed because of the operation, but ideally I would have gone to visit her in September, not July, because July was already such a busy month anyway. So when I got back to London from my mum's, I was feeling a bit stressed out about all the work I hadn't done. I don't mean just the garden, I mean all the work I hadn't done whilst I was away. Anyway, so thank you ever so much for beautiful gifts, messages, or what have you. And it was lovely to have a little second birthday when I got home. Yes, I was digressing, wasn't I? Let me have a quick slug of water, because it is really, really warm. It's kind of humid today too, so it's definitely a day to stay topped up with the old O. So what I was about to say, before I digressed myself, when I came down to plant that Helenium cutting, and then I watered the whole garden, It gave me a good chance to just have a look, see what jobs need doing, see where everything's at, and it's really lovely actually to have had those days away, come back to the garden and go, oh, do you know what? Yeah, it's growing, as you'll see when we go out there. But one of the reasons it was good to have a look around when I was watering is because I've noticed I've got a bit of black fly on some of my climbing beans. So this morning I have made up a little garlic spray. So all I've done, I've taken 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped them, chuck them in a bowl, cover them with warm water. That warmth of the water helps them to release their oils, their pungentness. Is that a word, pungentness? It's a word now, isn't it? Yes. Leave it to cool, strain it and put it in my spritzer. So I'll be spritzing the beans with this shortly. I will then, any of this water that's left over, I'll just put around vulnerable plants. So that's going to be sort of squash or some of the beans. I'll just spritz the ground where they are because apparently the slugs won't like it either. Once this bottle is empty, I'm going to refill it with water, add some aspirin, but more of that later. So, yes, there are lots of jobs to do, but they're the wonderful summer jobs, which we can take it nice and slowly, easy breezy. This is now the time to just really relax into our gardens, to just enjoy them. All this sort of pottering, tinker time. It's the time of year when we start to, we're seeing the little bits of veggies developing, the little fruits developing here and there. Yeah, it's definitely a time to be a bit slower and observe our insects. So for instance, this morning, or this afternoon, I've forgotten how the day is galloping away, just as I was arriving, walking past the herb bed, the lavender was full, not only of bees, but loads of butterflies. I saw red admirals and peacocks in there. I've never had those in my garden before. So it just shows, I think, planting that herb bed, obviously it's great for me. I love it. I use it. But it's really bringing in more insects, the butterflies in particular. They were so beautiful, I stopped in my tracks and scrabbled for my stills camera to try and get some photos of them. But of course they didn't oblige. They either flitted off or they closed up their wings. But yeah, gorgeous. Right, so how to tackle all these jobs today. I think I was going to go one bed at a time. So starting in bed number 1, tomatoes, squash, cukes. But I think actually I'm going to start with a ball of string. I'm going to go around the whole plot with a ball of string and do a load of tying in. You'll see why when we get out there. So come on, let's get that string and let's get tying in. Just before I get on with any of the work, I just thought I'd try and show you. Can you see? Oops, there and there. Ooh, those butterflies. Oh, isn't that a lovely sight? Open your wings for us. Come on, flash your brightly coloured knickers at us. Gorgeous. And of course, there's tons of bees in there too. Yes, this has worked out absolutely brilliantly for all the insects. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, and just let me show you the tree lily as well before I start any work. Look at the size of these buds. Oh, they're gorgeous, they're fit to burst. Now normally, well, put it this way, they're about a week, 10 days late this year. So it's not just my imagination, things are late this year. But I'm actually chuffed because in a few days I've got my sister visiting. So I'm rather hoping that they will pop open and be gorgeous for her visit. Oh, lovely stuff. Okay, let's do some work. Well, I haven't made it as far as string and tying. I haven't made it very far at all because I just saw Gary in his garden, so I trotted over there with his gift bottle. He was telling me it's been really, really warm and dry here, bone dry. So my goodness, I'm so grateful because I think half the garden would have died if he hadn't stepped in to help. So brilliant. Whilst I was there, I was just been having a look at his lavender, which is also covered in butterflies, but different to the ones I've got in my patch. So the pair of us, we're sort of hovering over the lavender trying to photograph all the different butterflies because neither of us are major butterfly experts. Nowhere near. I definitely want to get a little chart to put in my shed. Anyway, tinker time. So it's the time of year when I would normally, when the beans get to the top of the pole, I'd nip out the growing tip. That encourages some side shoots, hopefully. So I'm not actually going to nip the tops out yet, but where they've gone up the sort of vertical poles, they've got to the top, I'm just bringing them over so that I can hopefully train them along the horizontal poles. And then when they get horizontal poles are covered, that's when I'll nip the tops out to stop them, not to stop them growing, but to produce more side shoots rather than upward growth. I saw a fantastic stop motion video the other day. I've seen loads of videos over the years of bean seeds being hatched, you know what I mean, germinated, where you see it putting its root down and then it puts its head up and bursts out of the soil. I've seen loads of those videos, but the one I saw recently was the bean must have been maybe 1.5 foot, 2 foot long, and this stop motion footage, I don't know how long it was taken over, but it showed this plant just waving around and around and around in circles, looking for something to boom, grip onto and climb up. So one of the other little quickie jobs with the beans, I'm just going to see if I've got any, occasionally a shoot will come out. It hasn't found the pole, like here. Just give it a little bit of a helping hand, show it where the pole is, give it a couple of little twirls, and if you have a look at the ones that are climbing, you'll see they always go anti-clockwise. So if you're introducing one of your stray lengths of bean to a pole, just make sure you introduce it anti-clockwise. Yay! Oh, I'll show you in a sec. My first little gigantes beans are forming. Yay! Yeah, let me show you that, and then we'll do some spraying. Hurrah for my first little pods. Yay! Oops, sorry. This is what I was saying about at this time of year, just taking the pace down, doing these little summer jobs, and whilst doing them, having the time to notice all our beautiful developing food. Fantastic. Okay, I think we need to do some garlic spraying, and then I can move on to tying and nipping. Yuck. This one has got it really badly. This is literally just in the space of this last week. So I'm going to give it a really good spritzing. Absolutely soak it. But not just that. I will also, oh, it's vile, it's a horrid job, but I use my fingers. I just go up and down the stem a bit with a gentle squeeze, a gentle crush. Oh, yuck. It is worth well worth being rather thorough doing this. I mean, it really is a grotty job. It's well worth being thorough though, because as you can see, this, like I was saying, this has occurred in the space of a week, which is amazing. And before you know it, this will just be, it will spread to pretty much every other bean. And they just utterly sap the strength of the plant, and the plant will just not produce. So yeah, that's one done. I've only noticed 2 more, which I'll go to next, but I will actually look every single bean over really thoroughly to make sure. There's a ladybird there. I hope I don't spritz her. Okay, yeah, let's go and check out all the others. Oh, well, it's super dusty in here. This is one of our communal sheds, and I suddenly remembered that actually we've got some butterfly ID charts in here. So obviously on my garden all morning I've been seeing loads of peacocks, absolutely gorgeous. I did see a red admiral earlier, haven't been able to get it on camera, but having been chatting to Gary and it's a bit cramped in here, I'm going flying, and looking on his plot, he had cobwebs a go-go. That one there, that's a little meadow brown. He had a ton of those flitting around in his lavender. So yeah, I'm glad I remember that this is here, because now, I mean, you know, the common ones like the peacock and red admiral I do know how to identify. Well, not necessarily common, but they're the ones that I was taught about as a kid. But yeah, this great for future reference. If I spot any more butterflies, I'll certainly try to get them on film. But more than anything, I can come in here to identify them. Yay! Right, back to the work. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So, on the 5th of July, I remember it because it was the day that Richard and Paul came over, I tied it at about 1 foot. Then it was 3 days later, so it's the 8th of July, I tied it to just about here. But now, oh my goodness, look at that, that's another, 3 feet of growth. You can't even see, can you, in the top of the picture? So I'm going to just hook it into the top of the teepee for now and get doing a load more tying. And how's this one doing? Oh my goodness me, this one also. Where are you going? Where are you going? This one is also needing, oh my goodness, that's got to be another 3 feet as well. And it's put out, is it a second shoot? Oh no, this bit here, can you see? That is from the one on the far side. So I've got to do a bit of untangling and a bit of tying. How wonderful. And there is a random tomato under there. Oh, I have no idea where that's come from. But, yeah. This is what I mean about these wonderful, wonderful summer jobs. Let's just pop the string there for a minute, my little cut lengths of just gentle tinker jobs. I'm just going to adjust the camera at a minute actually so you can see just how tall this one has got. Hold on a tick. I've had to move the camera back a whole nother bed to get it all in. How fantastic. And again, as with being close up with the beans, little baby fruits. I'll show you closer in a second. Oops, oh, and another little baby fruit. Right, gently does it. What I was told a number of years ago, which, oh no, I've got some lengths cut, haven't I? Yeah, what I was told a number of years ago in terms of the flowering of the squash, and it makes perfect sense to me, and you'll probably be experiencing this in your own gardens, is the first flush of flowers on all your various squash, cucumbers, courgettes, etc, etc. Those first few flowers are male flowers. So if you look behind the flower, you won't see that little swelling, which is the plant's ova. Or is it ovum? Anyway, you won't see that little swelling. So what it was explained to me that, oh, I'm just seeing more. I'm suddenly seeing loads of squash babies. Yeah, sorry. The male flowers come first, almost to test, to see if there are pollinators around. So if that male flower, whoop, whoop, this is so high now. If that, oh, how am I going to tie it on? If that male flower gets visited by a bee, for example, the plant will then know, okay, there are pollinators around, it's safe, or it's worth me now putting out some female flowers. And then, of course, what you want is the bee to visit a male flower and then a female flower. Because that's, you remember back to the birds and bees? That's how it works. What can be an issue is if, what am I standing on? I'm standing on more squash, is if a lot of your male flowers drop off by the time you get female flowers. So if you're left with, say, just one male flower somewhere within your whole garden, it's definitely then worth hand pollinating. So either, you know, a little paintbrush or a little makeup brush, just a little soft haired brush, whatever, is to go into the male flower, give it a good dibble dabble around, and then go and visit all your female flowers, just to make sure, just in case the bees miss that one male flower. Right, the other good thing is that a lot of the squash are starting to put their tendrils out and starting to grip on. Before I untangle this one though, I want to give you a little close-up so you can see how the fruits are developing. It's so exciting. It seems like it's all happened overnight. I know it hasn't, but this is what we need to remind ourselves of every year. Every year when I'm feeling maudlin, feeling overwhelmed by the work that needs doing, feeling like I'm getting nowhere, feeling like the garden is slow, it's just remember back to last summer and how it was, and it does come good in the end, so hang in there. Let me show you some squash babies. So this variety, there are 3 plants in here. This is called Cream of the Crop, and I was absolutely certain when I picked it that I'd picked another trailing rather than clump forming one, but it looks like it's a clump. Never mind. What's lovely is coming in, the first fruits are forming. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So that's Cream of the Crop, and just over here is this gorgeous Italian squash called Violina. Oh look, everything's looking a bit wilty. It looks like it needs another good soaking. Beautiful. Look, it's just a perfect miniature version of its grown-up self, even with its little markings, its little stripes. Gorgeous. So that's the Violina. And then just a second ago, I was tying in over here. This is the Sucrine du Berry, which is the one that's got that ever so slight hint of nutmeg. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? What a beautiful green. They are very dark green. They will eventually, oh, let me just show you further up. There's another little one in there. Another one there. It's quite possible that some of these will drop off. I seem to lose a few every year. Oh look, can you see another one there? And hard to show you around the teepee here. Yeah, so they will develop as a really, really dark, shiny green, and depending on how long they get stored for, they will eventually turn orange in storage, as mine have done. I've still got about 2 of these left from last year. Gorgeous. Right, I need to get on with doing all this tying. Oh, let me just show you as well. Spinning you around like a crazy thing. Oh, what I didn't do is, I don't think there'll be any sign of any delicata yet, which is in here. Oh yes, there is. Wonderful. There we go. That's the first little delicata. So these will stay a fairly elongated shape, more like a sort of a courgette shape. It's sort of fatter, about the same length as a courgette but fatter. Lovely, just slit lengthways, scoop out the seeds, bung it in the oven and roast it. Yum, yum, yum. Oh, that's so good, I'm glad. But over here we've got, well, my tripod, and this is the loofah. I'll show you this one. So it has now got up to about 2 feet. See how it's grabbing on with its gorgeous little tendrils, which is good because I haven't been here to tie it. Look, this one, little tendril. It's trying to find something to grab onto. So they are growing, which is fab. I honestly don't know that they will come to fruition. Oh, let's have a look on this one. Is that the flower? Oh yes, flowers are forming, but I can't see that they're female flowers. Yeah, I really don't know that they'll come to fruition in terms of giving me a loofah sponge for using in the kitchen. But, put it this way, they're further along than I managed to get them last year. And who knows, even if they don't work this year, I can have another go next year and one day crack it with the loofahs. Okay, talking of cracking it, I need to crack on with all this tying, because after I've done this lot, I'll then need to move on to the cucumbers, because they're a massive tangle as well. Oh, and look out, this is the carnival. Oh yes, I can see another fruit form. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, it's so exciting. So these two are carnival, these two are a clump forming, which is why I've bunged them in the middle here, and then all the rest are trailers, and they can sort of trail in and around. But there we go, first squash forming. Such a beautiful shape, such a gorgeous shape. And there's another little one in there. Oh, how wonderful. I think it's one of the joys of growing squash, actually, is all the beautiful different shapes, textures, colours. They're such easy plants to grow as well. Well, I find them easy to grow. You get the seeds started, bung them in the ground, and then away they go. Away they go. This one's coming a ways across the path. So yeah, if you've never grown squash before, do give them a go, because like I say, they're dead easy. And they're such a versatile veg to use in the kitchen, and they store so ridiculously easily. All you do is take it off the plant, stick it in a corner of the kitchen for a year. Right, I'm delaying this tying because I'm just too busy having a look at everything. Oh, I wonder if there's any fruit forming on the cukes yet. Yes, these really, really need tying. They're flopped all over the place. Oh yeah, I can see one. Can you see it in there? Look, a little prickly thing there. Oh, it's so hard to get the camera. Oh, there we go. Good stuff. Yeah. Tons of tying to do today. So I'll shut up and get on with it. Oh, and I need to tie all the tomatoes in as well. Yay, happy, happy days. Oh, wow. It's humid this afternoon. I think a combination of humidity and the last sort of week catching up with me, I suddenly feel very floppy. But that's okay. Like I said right back at the beginning of the afternoon, we're into that beautiful time of year when the jobs are small, they're easy. Well, I say that, oh my gosh, I'm dripping. I've probably spent, about an hour tying up all the squash and cucumber. So, there's a point. Growing things vertically as opposed to horizontally, yes, it does mean a bit more work because of constantly sort of tying in and training. But like I said before, it's so worth it just because of the increased amount of space it gives me in the garden. So yeah, really, really dripping. My energy is fading fast. So I'm going to gently go through all the tomatoes. I'm sort of making like a butterfly this afternoon. I'm sort of alighting on a plant and resting there for a while. I'm so happy to see all those butterflies in the herb garden. Absolute joy they are. And like I say, I don't remember ever having such beautiful butterflies in the garden before. It's just usually the cabbage whites. So I'll get all the tomatoes done. I don't know, will you be able to see from there? Probably not, but I've got lovely little trusses forming with tomatoes which are about the size of, halfway between a marble and a ping pong ball. So I will get them all tied in again where they've grown. They look to have grown, they've probably all grown about 6 to 8 inches in that week that I've not been here. Get them tied in, get the side shoots removed, want to put all that energy into the trusses, and then when I've finished I will make my aspirin spray. So for those of you who've not seen me do it before, we're just looking for side shoots, I will take, it's a 300mg tablet, I'll add it to a litre of water, and then I'll simply mist all the tomatoes with it. And it's part of my blight prevention. So when they get sprayed with the aspirin, the plant has a bit of a shock. Not enough of a shock to kill it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. But the plant sort of mounts a defence. It sees itself as being under attack. So in much the same way, when we have a reaction to a sting, that's the release of histamine in our system, and that's all part of an inflammatory response to come to the area that's been under attack and protect it. Hence we take antihistamines. If we take antihistamines when our body overreacts and just keeps chucking out histamine. So it's a bit similar in the tomato. Obviously it's not histamine, it's a different reaction, but the bottom line is the plant mounts this defence, and it's thought that in doing that it makes it more resilient against blight. It doesn't prevent it. As far as I know, there's nothing you can do to prevent it. Nothing organic anyway. So it will not prevent it, but it will delay the onset, or at least it has for me. So I've been doing this aspirin spray now for, the last 4 or 5 years. It's possibly even longer now. And okay, last year we didn't have any blight at all, which was amazing, but that's because we were in drought the whole summer. But in previous years, when I've done my aspirin spray and then I look at others who don't, it tends to give me about 4 weeks longer before I get blight. So I can literally see blight on every tomato plant on this whole site, but not mine. And it just means that those extra 4 weeks, I've got more chance of a bit more fruit developing. The fruit that is there and developed already gives it a chance to ripen. So yeah, anything to just prolong the, oh hello bee, sorry, bee was coming to this little flower and I disturbed it. Yeah, so anything that kind of can delay the onset of the blight, that's great in my book. So that will be my job to do once they're all tied in. I think I probably need to cut a little bit more foliage out as well, as I was doing 2, 3, however many videos ago. And then, to be honest, I think I might call it a day there for now. There's tons more to do. Yeah, there is quite a bit more to do, but it's all really lovely stuff. So I'll have a little look at my diary and see if I can sneak an extra session in sometime this week, maybe one morning. That would be great. I have to come down to water anyway, so if I can just extend that to a 3-4 hour session as opposed to 1 hour for watering, that'd be brilliant. So my lovelies, I'm going to say cheerio to you all. Sucking great plane above me. Oh, and I forgot, or I nearly forgot, I've just remembered. Shall we wait for that plane to go? Off on their holidays somewhere. I'm having my holiday this afternoon in my garden. Yay! Actually, after I've finished all my bits and bobs of jobs, I am going to just sit on the deck for half an hour. I think Gary's still down as well. I might invite him over and just sit on the deck and watch the butterflies and the bees and the lavender, because it's they're engrossing to watch. I love them. Yes, the thing that I nearly forgot, but I've just remembered, is I don't know if any of you go to the Malvern Flower Show in the autumn, well, garden show in the autumn. It's not something I've ever been to before. I've seen a bit of it on, I think, Gardener's World sometimes show a little bit. It's a beautiful setting with the Malvern Hills as a backdrop, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really lucky this year. I'm going to be going. The show is on the weekend of the 28th and 29th of September. I'll be going on the 29th of September, that's the Sunday. And this is so exciting, although I do feel a bit of a fraud. At 2 o'clock on the Sunday, myself and 3 other veg gardeners who have YouTube channels, we're going to be in one of the tents, pavilions, whatever, doing a little very informal Q&A session. So if you're coming to Malvern this year, and if you're there on the Sunday, please come and say hello. Come and say hello to me and give me a sucking great real life hug, because I love meeting people anyway. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Don't know what to expect in terms of the show itself. No idea what to expect of the Q&A. I say I feel a bit of a fraud because I think all this, everything I do, is just luck and stubbornness. I'm certainly no expert, but I hope my garden shows that you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to be a know-it-all to have a really thriving, productive garden. Listen, if I can do it, any Muppet can. I'm not saying that any of you are Muppets, I'm the Muppet. So yeah, come along and say hello to me on Sunday the 29th of September. I really, really look forward to a real life hug with any of you. I'm a hugger, I'm warning you now, I'm a hugger. So, on that happy note, I better get on and sort this garden out, hadn't I? Yeah, some quiet time with my tomatoes, and then I'm going to go and see how Gary's getting on. Actually, I can see him from here. He's head down, bum up. I think he's doing some weeding. We'll have earned a break after all this. So, until next time, which I think will probably be quite soon, because there's still loads going on in the garden. Take care of yourselves. Stay wealthy. Stay well. Stay wealthy. Stay wealthy of heart. Stay wealthy from your garden. You know what I'm trying to say. This heat's getting to me. See you all soon. In the meantime, take care. Bye for now.